Chapter 2. Internet and Safety. Before we proceed to our lesson, let's have a recap on what we've learned. The Windows 10 operating systems and the security and maintenance. Now, let's proceed to our lesson. We will discuss the Internet and safety. Lesson 6. The Internet. Alternatively referred to as the net or web, the Internet was initially developed to aid the progress of computing technology by linking all the best academic computer centers. It is the world's largest network because it is a collection of computers and servers that are connected to each other using routers and switches around the world. The Internet contains billions of web pages created by people and companies from around the world, making it a limitless place to locate information and entertainment. It also has thousands of services that help make life more convenient. There's almost no limit what you can do online. The Internet makes it possible to quickly find information, communicate with people around the world, manage your finances, shop from home, listen to music, watch videos, and much more. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the ways the Internet is most commonly used. 1. Search engine. With billions of websites online today, there is a lot of information on the Internet. Search engines make this information easier to find. All you have to do is type one or more keywords, and the search engine will look for relevant websites. There are many different search engines you can use, but some of the most popular include Google, Yahoo, and Bing. 2. Email. Short for electronic mail, email is a way to send and receive messages across the Internet. Almost everyone who uses the Internet has their own email account, usually called an email address. This is because you'll need an email address to do just about anything online, from online banking to creating a Facebook account. 3. Social networking. Social networking websites are another way to connect and share with your family and friends online. Rather than sharing with just a few people over email, social networks make it easier to connect and share with many people at the same time. Facebook is the world's largest social networking site, with more than 1 billion users worldwide. 4. Chat and instant messaging are text-based communication that is live and read in real time, allowing you to converse more quickly and easily than email. These are generally used when both or all people are online. Examples of instant messaging applications include Skype, Google Hangouts. Some sites, like Gmail and Facebook, even allow you to chat within your browser. 5. Online media. These are websites that allow you to watch videos and listen music. For example, you can watch millions of videos on YouTube or listen to internet radio on Pandora. Other services, like Netflix and Hulu, allow you to watch movies and TV shows. And using a set-top streaming box, you can even watch them directly on your television instead of a computer screen. Not only you can watch videos on YouTube, you can also stream live events so others can watch them on their computers. How do computers connect to each other over the Internet? Using a network connection, including connecting to the Internet, computers connect to each other to transmit data between them and communicate with each other using the TCP/IP or Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. Think about TCP/IP as a book of rules, a step-by-step guide that each computer uses to know how to talk to another computer. This book of rules dictates what each computer must do to transfer data, when to transfer data, and how to transfer the data. It also states how to receive data in the same manner. If the rules are not followed, the computer will not be able to connect to another computer, nor send and receive data between other computers. Internet service providers, also known as ISP, the companies that provide internet service and connectivity, also follow these rules. The ISP provides a bridge between your computer and all the other computers in the world, which are all parts of the Internet. The ISP uses the TCP/IP protocols to make computer-to-computer connections possible and transmit data between them. And when successfully connected to an ISP, you are assigned an IP address, which is a unique address given to your computer or network and allows it to be found while on the Internet. Home network. If you have a home network, the computers are also using TCP/IP to connect to each other. The TCP/IP protocol allows each computer to see the other computers on the network and share files between them, and is what makes it possible for a printer to be shared on a network. When computers connect each other on the same network, it is called a local area network, or LAN. When multiple networks are connected to each other, it is called a wide area network, or WAN. With this type of network, your home has a network router that connects to your ISP. Now, let's talk about Lesson 7. The Internet Browsers. There have been many different web browsers that have come and gone over the years. The first named World Wide Web, later changed to Nexus, was invented by Tim Berners-Lee in 1990. However, the first graphical browser and widely used browser that helped bring popularity to the Internet was NCSA Mosaic in the early 90s. No matter which web browsers you use, you'll need to learn first the basics of browsing the web. In this lesson we'll talk about navigating to different websites, using tabbed browsing, creating bookmarks, and more. Let's talk about URLs and the address bar. The term address bar refers to the text field in a web browser that identifies the user's location on the web and allows to access different websites. Each website has a unique address, called a URL, short for Uniform Resource Locator. It's like a street address that tells your house location, while in a browser this is where you want to go on the internet. 1. Scheme. Every URL begins with the scheme. This tells your browser what type of address it is so the browser connects to it correctly. There are many types of schemes, but for typical web browsing you will mostly see HTTP and HTTPS. Your browser usually won't show the scheme in the address bar, and usually you don't need to type the scheme when typing a web address. Instead, you can just begin with the domain name. The scheme is still always part of the URL. It just isn't being displayed so it won't confuse the user. 2. Domain name. The domain name is the most prominent part of a web address. Typically, different pages on the same site will continue to use the same domain name. Each segment of the domain name separated by a period is called a domain. The domain on the right is called the top-level domain, with the domain to the left of it called the second-level domain, then third-level domain, and so on. In most URLs, the www domain can be omitted. Google.com and www.google.com lead to the same page. However, other subdomains cannot be omitted. For example, all pages under news.google.com require the news subdomain in the URL. 3. File path. Often just called the path tells your browser to load a specific page. If you don't specify a path and only enter a domain name, your browser will still load a specific page. It's just loading a default page, which usually will show you links to other pages. 4. Parameters. Some URLs include a string of characters after the path beginning with a question mark called the parameter string. You have probably noticed this part of a URL appear in your address bar after performing a search on Google or YouTube. The parameter string can be clear or confusing to a human user, but it is critical information for the server. 5. Anchor. Also appearing after the path, the anchor tells your browser to scroll to or load a specific part of the page. Usually the anchor begins with a hashtag and is used to direct your browser to a specific part of a very long page, much like a bookmark. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the links. Whenever you see a word or phrase on a website that's blue or underlined in blue, it's probably a hyperlink, or link for short. You might already know how links work, even if you've never thought about them much before. Links are used to navigate the web. When you click a link, it will usually take you to a different web page. You may also notice that your cursor changes into a hand icon whenever you hover over a link. Navigation buttons. The back and forward buttons allow you to move through websites you've recently viewed. You can also click and hold either button to see your recent history. The refresh button will reload the current page. If a website stops working, try using the refresh button. Tabbed browsing. Many browsers allow you to open links in a new tab. You can open as many links as you want, and they'll stay in the same browser window instead of cluttering your screen with multiple windows. To open a link in a new tab, right-click the link and select Open Link in New Tab. The exact wording may vary from browser to browser. To close a tab, click the X. Bookmarks and history. If you find a website you want to view later, it can be hard to memorize the exact web address. Bookmarks, also known as favorites, are a great way to save and organize specific websites so you can revisit them again and again. Simply locate and select the star icon to bookmark the current website. Your browser will also keep a history of every site you visit. This is another good way to find a site you visited previously. To view your history, open your browser settings usually by clicking the icon in the upper right corner and select History. Your browser will also keep a history of every site you visit. This is another good way to find a site you visited previously. To view your history, open your browser settings usually by clicking the icon in the upper right corner and select History. Downloading files. Links don't always go to another website. In some cases, they point to a file that can be downloaded, or saved, to your computer. If you click a link to a file, it may download automatically, but sometimes it just opens within your browser instead of downloading. Saving images. Sometimes you may want to save an image from a website to your computer. To do this, right-click the image and select Save Image as or Save Picture as. Now, we learned so far the Internet and Internet browsers. Let's go ahead and talk about the Internet safety. The Internet makes it possible to access information quickly, communicate around the world, and many more. Unfortunately, the Internet is also home to certain risks, such as malware, spam, and phishing. If you want to stay safe online, you will need to understand these risks and learn how to avoid them. Treat the Internet as you would when you were going for a stroll on a shopping mall. Even you frequently visits that mall, you should always be cautious to strangers, or to the things that you want to buy, or even to books that you want to read. Apply this same mindset whenever you're online. You shouldn't be afraid to use the Internet, but remember that it comes with many of the same risks you would face in the real world. Creating strong passwords. To protect yourself and your information, you'll want to use passwords that are long, strong, and difficult for someone else to guess while still keeping them relatively easy for you to remember. Now, the question is, why do I need a strong password? A strong password is one of the best ways to defend your accounts and private information from hackers. So, why do you need a strong password? The truth is that even though most websites are secure, there's always a small chance someone may try to access or steal your information. This is commonly known as hacking. Let me show you some tips for creating a strong password. A strong password is one that's easy for you to remember but difficult for others to guess. Let's take a look at some of the most important things to consider when creating a password. 1. Never use personal information such as your name, birthday, username, or email address. This type of information is often publicly available, which makes it easier for someone to guess your password. 2. Use a longer password. Your password should be at least 6 characters long, although for extra security it should be even longer. 3. Don't use the same password for each account. If someone discovers your password for one account, all of your other accounts will be vulnerable. 4. Try to include numbers, symbols, and both uppercase and lowercase letters. 5. Avoid using words that can be found in the dictionary. For example, alphabet 1 would be a weak password. 6. Random passwords are the strongest. If you're having trouble creating one, you can use a password generator instead. There you have it, a simple tips for creating a password. And you have to take note of a common password mistakes. Some of the most commonly used passwords are based on family names, hobbies, or just a simple pattern. While these types of passwords are easy to remember, they're also some of the least secure. Let's take a look at some of the most common password mistakes and how to fix them. You may go ahead and open your book on page 107 to 108 to see a sample passwords and a solution to fix, and to make it a strong password. Now, we learned to create a strong password and know some common mistakes that we had a solution to get rid of it. We may now proceed, using a password managers. Instead of writing your passwords on paper where someone might find them, you can use a password manager to store them securely online. Password managers can remember and enter your password on different websites, which means you won't have to remember longer passwords. Examples of password managers include LastPass, 1Password, and Google Chrome's Password Manager. Web browsers security features. Your computer faces different threats whenever you browse the web, including viruses, malware, and spyware. The good news is your web browser has a lot of built-in security features to help protect your computer. 1. Check the web address. Malicious websites often use deceptive web addresses to trick users. 2. Look at the security symbol. Some websites will display a lock symbol in the address bar. This is most commonly seen with certain types of websites, like online stores and banking sites. This means the website is using an HTTPS connection, which makes it safe to enter your personal information. 3. Update your browser regularly. New viruses and malware are created all the time, so it's important to update your browser regularly. Your browser will usually notify you when it has an update available, but you always have the option to update manually. Now, we learned all about internet safety. Be ready on our Red Day to discuss the whole topic. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.